Going on, Jeromes. Happy weekend. Happy Father's Day weekend out there. We got a little Q&A, so let's fire this thing up. Purple Rain. Purple Rain. I thought about the beloved Everson Griffin the other day. Do you ever hear how he is doing? I'm sure he's just enjoying family, friends, and living life. No news is good news. And I haven't heard anything specifically about Everson. I know that he's posted on Instagram a couple times, enjoying family life. Looks like he's enjoying retirement, which is fantastic. I think maybe that's what he needed. And, obviously he loved the game and the game loved him, but maybe just stepping away allowed him to get some clarity and find some peace. And hopefully that's the case. And Everson's always going to be one of my favorite Vikings. Just hopefully he's taking care of himself and taking care of his loved ones. Frost, do you think our current coaching staff could bring us the Super Bowl in a few years, or at least to the NFC Championship game? Yes. Yeah, I do think that Flores is probably going to be a one and done, which is fine. But I think just bringing a new attitude and swagger and aggression on that defense is going to make a huge difference. And Kevin O'Connell is just going to keep continuing growing and showing this offense. And they're perennially going to have a fantastic offense here in Minnesota, no matter who the quarterback is, as long as Kevin O'Connell and hopefully Jefferson is here. Danny. How do you think the absence of Dalvin will affect the overall offense and specifically a passing game with less threatening backfield? I think Madison can be a true running back one. I think Madison can be a running back one. I think that he is a running back that does everything well. Maybe he's not maybe it's a jack of all trades, master of none situation, but he's good in outside zone. He's good in short yardage. He's good running power. He's great pass blocking. He's good as a receiver. And the whole thing about the thing about Dalvin is that last year his big threat was the home run, whether it's against the Colts on the screen pass or the 81-yarder against the Bills or the 53-yarder against the Dolphins. Like that was his big thing. And, the Vikings, they need to find, a little bit of that juice in the backfield. Although Madison doesn't necessarily have breakaway speed, neither does Dwayne McBride, maybe King Kenne, maybe Ty Chandler in there. But we'll see. But in terms of the passing game, Dalvin wasn't really that big of a receiving threat, and he was a capable pass blocker, but as a true receiver, like there's talk last year, at last offseason this time, that we're going to use Dalvin as a wide receiver. I remember doing videos about that where it's it didn't happen. It didn't really happen, man. Matthew Zook. I still have concerns about the right guard position. What are the chances the Vikings use extra cap space being a proven starter like Dalton Reisner? Your thoughts on my thoughts. I think that Kwesi and Cooper and KOC are fully all in on Ed Ingram. And, respect. Ingram, despite stepping on Cousins' feet, he did improve towards the end of the season, which is a little bit surprising. As rookies generally wear down towards the end of the year since they're not used to playing 17 games. Well, I guess they are nowadays since college teams are playing 13, 14, 15 games. But, Ingram did improve towards the end of last year, and I think that he could take a step in year two. Jack, and hopefully not on Cousins' foot. How would you rate Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell drafting so far from last season to this season? Free agency, UDFA, etc. I've been a subscriber since 16, 17K. Love your channel. Jerome, homie, Andy, best sports podcaster on YouTube. Huge fan. Hey. Thank you. Thanks for coming along. If we didn't have awesome Jeromes like Jack, I don't know if we'd still be doing this. Who knows? But so last year's draft is a little bit TBD. You can't really grade it yet, and it depends on the health of Scene and Booth and Asamoah and Evans and how Atamuo pans out this year too. Also, if Ed Ingram steps up, plus, if Ty Chandler takes over at running back eventually, that all of a sudden the narratives around the 2022 class completely flip. This year, I love the draft class, man. I love Jaquelin Roy. I love Jay Ward. I love Jaron Hall. Addison, obviously. Blackman is going to be a stud. So I think that two drafts where maybe they're unorthodox. I know that people still complain about the trades, but I think they're good to go. And also, I don't think Kwesi gives a fudge about convention, which I really like a lot. Emily, were you expecting? We are expecting. Nailed it. Our first baby this year. Congratulations. We want our daughter to be a Vikings fan too, but we live in the New York area. How can I raise a Vikings fan without pushing it on her? I don't want her to become a Green Bay fan out of spite. It's a good question, Mark. All right, so my kids, I'm not going to push being a Vikings fan or a fan of any team on them, really. But I will. I think the way to go about it is just have them, just spend time with them while rooting for the team. And I think that's it. I mean, just being super casual about it, watching the Vikings and, teaching them like the fight song is like cheering whenever the Vikings score numerous touchdowns, usually against the Packers, all that stuff. And I think it's what it is, where I think kids, even if kids don't become diehard sports fans, like they'll always associate the team with good times, just spending it with their grandparents or parents, because that's why I remember as a kid, or get-togethers with good friends and good family and good food and good times and good vibes and all that stuff. I think that's what people still associate about sports, because like how much, yeah. All right, so take a fan base. Like, what percentage would you say are fully hardcore fans? 20%, maybe. Then you have a big strata of casual fans, that hope the team wins. Maybe they don't know the name of the backup fourth string tight end, Nick Muse, but they know the stars and they hope that the team wins. But maybe they don't think about it the rest of the week. But they'll go to the odd game, they'll have a jersey and be like, "Hey, let's go." But they're more about having a couple drinks, having some great food with some great friends. I think that's about it. What, maybe 80%? Wait, no. That throws my mouth out. So 20% hardcore, maybe like 70% casual, and like 10% don't care. But if it's on, yay purple team, something like that, But yeah, I mean, I don't think you have to push it on them, especially if they don't even like football in general. So just be super casual about it, and it will just grow from there. Traveler, what do you think is the most questionable move Kwesi has made so far? Oh, so hold on. Going back to that. So my daughter, so my wife is completely indifferent about football. She's never watched a single video, including the ones with our kids. The Margaret is indifferent about football. She likes soccer. So we watch Liverpool together a lot. She's got some Liverpool jackets and stuff, which she likes. She calls them the funny chickens, which is because it's the liver bird, but she calls them the funny chickens, which is funny. She thinks that LFC. I'm trying to get this on camera. She thinks that LFC stands for Liverpool Funny Chickens, which is really good. Rocco seems to like soccer a lot, and I'm really hope that he gets into baseball, because I'm not like a huge baseball fan per se, but I love the experience of going to baseball games. Like, I love going to Twins games, hanging out. I would love if he got into baseball, I would love to have him just be like the spoiled baseball kid, and then we go to every single stadium in a year. That would be great. It'd be a hell of a summer, man. But that's it. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, stuff. Traveler, what do you think is the most questionable move Kwesi has made so far? Most questionable move? Maybe not extending Cousins. As weird as that sounds, like, yeah, a lot of people point toward the trades of the Lions. Well, you should go to the Lions' first-round pick. I don't think that was on the table. Trade chart-wise, the Vikings got value. Same thing with the Packers trade. I have no issue, obviously, with the Hockenson trade. I don't have any issue with the free agent moves that he's made or the small trades that he's made. I do think that it was right to move on from Dalvin and Thielen and Kendricks and Diesel Dalvin if he was going to get paid $14 million by the Browns, and Patrick Peterson. Yeah, I guess it's weird that the most questionable is not extending Kirk through 2024, because Kirk, when he balls out this year, it's going to cost you a lot more next year. Carter K. If we get Kareem Hunt for cheaper than Dalvin, do you think it would be a good fit, especially for a third down back and catch out of the backfield? I'm pretty comfortable with Ty Chandler. Kevin O'Connell has, I think he talked about at the combine, he's super comfortable with Ty as well. So, I mean, I think the Vikings running back room is pretty good. K Fizzle, do you think Jaquelin Roy can be that bully in the middle we need? Could he be the best pick out of the draft for the Vikings this year? I think he certainly has that ceiling where he was basically a one-year starter at LSU. He's certainly ascending. He's still growing into his body. He's still growing into technique, and I think that he has a chance to be just a force in the middle, both solid against a run, blowing up a gap, and getting a pass rush. I really like Jaquelin Roy a lot. I think that, I mean, body type wise, they're not the same, but I could see him playing a Akeem Hicks type role down the line, where pass rushing nose tackle. I think that Jaquelin Roy could be that guy. I think he's really solid, man. Skull. What are the chances of the Vikings extending Kirk for a year and trading up for top 3 draft pick and grabbing quarterback? Those two specific things, probably low. I could see them trading into the top 10. Yes, but I mean top 3, that gets a little spendy. Also, teams generally in the top 3 are there because they don't have a good quarterback. So why don't they just stick and pick a quarterback? Joshua and Durla. Since our defense was almost dead last in everything this last season, we cut a lot of talent on that side of the ball. We've had some new parts, but nothing to the same talent level as last year. How do you think this defense will be 25th, 20th? Well, a lot of it is more, instead of like a replacement, like you already had them on the roster. So, I mean, they're banking on Metellus, they're banking on Lewis Seen, they're banking on Evans and Booth and Asamoah and Atamuo, etc. And yeah, you added pieces like Davenport and Lowry, and in the draft you brought in Jaquelin Roy, Blackman, and Jay Ward. But I mean, overall, I'm kind of okay with what they did on defense, because Zadarius didn't want to be here. Also injuries. Also getting older. Also Kendricks, a little bit old and slow. Same thing with Patrick Peterson. They hung on to Harrison Smith for 1 year as opposed to multiple years. So I understand what Kwesi is doing on the back end. Nova. This is my personal dream scenario. Trade Daniil for a first and change. Sign Yannick the freaking Ngakoue back using Dalvin and Zadarius money. 2024 draft, trade up with Daniil picks. Our picks for Caleb Williams. Resign JJ, TJ, and Christian Darrisaw for years to come. What is your personal opinion on how Daniil's contract should play out, or resign, trade, etc.? That's pretty much where I'm at. Like, if you can trade Daniil for draft capital that will get you a quarterback in the future, I'm okay with it. My Mason-Dixon line has been a first and a third, or Mendoza line, whatever line. First and a third, roughly the Bradley Chubb deal. Go get that. Wyatt Ellison. Do you think Kirk Cousins will stay with the Vikings long term or go to a different team for ages next year? Is it possible to talk about contract during I don't think that Kirk Cousins plays for another team. I think that he will be the Vikings quarterback for 2 to 3 years, and they'll find a way to work it out. I think that both sides need each other, and I think that's what's going to happen. Charles Kroll. How does the NFL determine the amount of salary cap? Skull Jeromes. It's a percentage of revenue. It's a proprietary equation, but it's funny because since the Packers are publicly owned, their books have to be public. So everyone just reverse engineers how much the league made last year based off the Packers books, which is really funny. They're like the Judas goat. Yeah. Yeah, so that's basically how to do it. Where NFLPA, they have agreed a percentage amount of revenue that goes to the players, and that's how the salary cap is set. Riley Goal. Who is the player that you would like the Vikings to potentially trade for before the season starts? Patrick Mahomes. But realistically, I mean, Chase Young would be super spicy, and it's what Kwesi likes, a player that has a high draft pedigree, which means that they went through that screening process and they were deemed to be very talented, and they haven't panned out for whatever reason, sometimes injury, sometimes whatever. And Kwesi loves the mama I can change him type players, and Chase Young would be that crown jewel. Sam Sports Shop. Could Dalvin resign with us at a smaller deal if no other team signs him? So we don't break news on this channel. We're I'm trying to think about this because someone was asking me a couple weeks ago. I was like, how would you describe your channel? And I would say it's basically like a fan just like scrolling the sports pages and like social media and just reacting to Vikings stuff. So we're not a journalist. We're not a reporter. We're just a jackass fan with a microphone. Ooh, That's a callback. The OGs know. But I think that there is a legit chance that Dalvin Cook resigns. I think that he could take a look at the market, not going to get that significant contract that he's looking for, sees the Vikings are going to be legit this year, and come back on a smaller role at a smaller rate and go from there. Jay Mayfield. Would you trade Hunter and a 2024 fifth to the Niners for a 2024 first? Yes. First, third, and Trey Lance? Yes. Yes, I would do that. Our boy Trevor Lowe. If you had to pick one type of cuisine to eat for the rest of your life, which would it be? American, Italian, Asian, etc. Well, does American include Americanized Chinese food or Americanized Italian food or Americanized Mexican food? Because that'd be pretty good. I may go Asian. Because could we just go pan-Asian? So we could do like sushi and ramen and bulgogi and kimchi and pho and all that stuff. Because I would go that route. I would. Or if we had to do specific Asian, I may pick Vietnamese because pho is life. And also, I'm a spring roll slut. I really am, man. Also, yeah, just God, what is it called? I know that's Japanese. Just thinking yakitori, where I'm gonna start doing that. As I get older, I'm just gonna be like the old Asian dude with flip flops with this little charcoal grill and just the little skewers of fatty chicken meat, because you got to get the fatty chicken as well as the skin, because then it drips and sizzles onto those coals, and it's just, it's almost just the smell is what does it, man. So I guess Vietnamese. Yeah. The average Eagles gaming. Who do you think we should add from free agency? I mean, Dalton Reiser's just out there, man. I mean, Dalton Reisner could be the future left guard of the Vikings, because I don't think they re-sign Ezra Cleveland. I mean, Ndamukong Suh or Dwayne Smoot along the defensive line would make sense. God, there's a veteran corner that I thought about the other day. I can't remember. Anyways, I don't think that there would be a major splash, but I think that there's room to supplement, as well as they have an open roster spot. Dalvin count as a free agent? I guess he would. Oh, and if you had to put a jelly bean on it, would you take the over-under for Kirk to pass for 4,500 yards again this season? Over. I think he goes for 5K. Todd Haysbrook. If KO called you up right now and offered you to pick a positions coach job, which position are you picking? Long snapper. I'd want to get involved in the offensive line, where obviously bit of a jabroni. But it would be cool to learn a lot more about the intricacies of upfront play, because it's simple and complicated at the same time, and without a good offensive line, you generally don't have a good offense. I mean, last year was kind of amazing for the Vikings. Traveler, where's the next place you think you'll go for Jerome? Potentially may go somewhere in July, but absent that, we're going to do the first preseason game in Seattle. So, I mean, that should be a blast. We may not even go to the game. Checking out, because there's a Vikings bar out there. I'm sure there will be a handful of Vikings fans that come out of the woodwork for the preseason game up in the Pacific Northwest. I doubt that there will be Minnesota-based Vikings fans that travel for a preseason game. I guess you never know. Connor Keck, if we pay Hunter and he ends up getting hurt again, would you consider it a waste of money? Well, I mean, under those specific parameters, yes. Andrew Smith, most under-the-radar team in the NFC that is in the Vikings course, and the AFC coming into the 2023 season. But under the radar, Falcons. I think the Falcons have a chance to be pretty legit. I mean, Desmond Ridder can just take care of his business. They got London, they got Pitts, they got Bajan, they got Cordero. Arthur Smith, I respect his acumen a lot. So they could really be something. AFC-wise, yeah. No one. No. I actually think that the Colts could be legit quicker than people think. I think Richardson is a lot less raw than people think. And I think that stylistically, Shane Steichen, the way that he helped progress Jalen Hurts last year, I think that he's going to do a lot of good things. Also, Jonathan Taylor Thomas is legit. They got Pittman. So I think the Colts could surprise some people if they can only hold on to 33-point halftime leads. LFA. Not sure if you answered this already, but where's the next Jerome going to take place? Maybe somewhere random in July, but for sure Seattle preseason game. Dustin actually booked travel for that today. Dustin Keyser. I didn't hear anything special on Andre. I didn't hear anything special on Andre Carr's second. What have you heard or seen? And will he make the 53? Haven't seen any major updates about him, flashing, but I think that he will certainly make the 53, given his bonus. Also, given the Vikings' needs for future edge rushers, and also I think Carter does have a ton of potential. Clinton Rissig, the odds of Cousins breaking 5,000 yards in 2023, I'd say maybe 1.5 to 1, somewhere in there. I think he's gonna do it. Let's see here. B. Mac Domingo. Kirk Cousins should have a pizza called the Comeback Pizza with 39 pieces of pepperoni at Pizza Ranch. Your thoughts? It'd actually be great marketing. I don't know if Kirk is still a spokesperson for Pizza Ranch. It's been a long time since I saw a Kirk Pizza Ranch commercial or advert. Let's see here. All right, that it. Let me blitz. Is Kirk Cousins the best quarterback with number 8 right now? I mean, I guess it'd be a toss-up with him and Lamar, right? Yeah, because not Kenny Pickett. Nobel War Prize. Most important life lesson your father has taught you. Ooh, got deep. I guess respect everyone. Don't dictate your respect for someone based on their status or what they can do for you. It's the whole... treat the CEO the same that you would treat the janitor and vice versa sort of deal. Also, I think just having pride in your work where even if you're working a menial job, do the best job that you can, because some people won't do that because I got pay, and if I work really hard, I won't get ahead. So it really doesn't matter. It matters to you. Right, and even if it could be like a job, and even if it's something menial, at the end of the day, you can still feel proud of yourself that you did it the right way. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. Because if you don't care in your job for whatever reason, you won't care in the rest of your life. And that's not a conscious thing. Well, maybe it is, but it could be a subconscious thing where if you show up every day, say your job is to, put pins in a map or put pins in a board, just whatever. Do the best job of putting pins in the board as possible, because guess what? You will get noticed, and then you'll be given another job. If you do that to the best of your ability, you'll be given another job. That's how it happens. Where whether it's that or fixing something around the house or building something or spending time with your kids or just doing that. It's if you're going to do something, do it right. Don't half-ass it. Yeah, I think that's pretty important. Mark Wills. Have you ever been to a gastropub in St. Paul, W.A. Frost? I haven't eaten there, but we've had drinks and happy hour there. It's a really cool building. They have a fireplace room and stuff. It's old school, 1920s style. I think it's just off of Selby in St. Paul. That's a really cool spot. But that's it. That's this week's Q&A. Thanks, everyone, for submitting questions. You guys are the best. Skull, production value.